Over the past 13 weeks, we have tried on this program to complement the nation's efforts at economic diversification by bringing you the opportunities in non-oil exports, teaching our viewers how to earn export dollars and manufacture their own foreign exchange, while contributing to government's efforts to formulate the right policies and strategies to enhance export growth. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Export Digest, your #1 program that periscopes the non-oil export sector. Remember, our driving passion here is to contribute to building a non-oil export-driven Nigerian economy that guarantees a solid future for practitioners and higher share of global markets for Nigerian products and services. I am Femi Boyede. Today marks the end of another quarter in our series, and as usual, we have decided to devote the entire program to attending to the various questions and contributions of you, our esteemed viewers. As you will see, if you have been following this program, most of the issues and questions have been treated in one or the other of our previous episodes. But because today's episode is for you, we shall answer your questions and, wherever necessary, recall the particular subject in the episode under which it was treated. Also, to enrich the content of our answers, I am joined on the program by one of our in-house resource persons, Barrister Bayo Ayo. Together, we shall take the issues and hope that our viewers remain better informed as you get ready to join the export train. Bayo Ayo, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we just go straight into the business of the day. I'll read the first question here. It's not a contribution. Dear Sir, Madam, my name is Samuel Ekaleshike. Sorry, I didn't pronounce that well. I am an exporter of agricultural raw materials like bitter kola, ginger, garlic, cocoa, etc. I am new in export business. Please, I want you to help me on how to get serious and genuine international buyers for my products. Samuel Ekaleshike. Bayo, can you help Mr. Ekaleshike out?
Well, I will stick with the first name, which is Samuel.
Okay.
Seriously, the major problem with exporters and export in Nigeria, or for new exporters usually, is wanting to put the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse. Because instead of looking in the immediate for international buyers, I would rather ask Samuel how far he has gone with the quality and the quantity of the products he has mentioned in his notes to you.
Yep.
How much of this do you have? What kind of products do you have? You have to answer these questions very well and satisfactorily before you venture out there, because one of the easiest things to do in export marketing today is to get buyers. There are 1,010,000 potential buyers around the world on the internet, and at the click of a button, you can actually get all these things, all these people, sending in their requests and all of that. But then again, after you have done your homework, I would suggest that after doing your homework, which includes some of the things I've mentioned earlier, making sure that the products that you are potentially exporting are of high grade and quality to meet with international standards. It is when you have completed all this that you can begin to say, okay, now we need a market. We need a buyer. The market is there. It's always available all year round.
The second contribution here, question also, is a little more technical. It says, this is Ezihe Ventures. He is interested in the guidelines on export stimulation fund and how to access it, and if there are any other policies on export intervention fund. And for this, I'm sure that in another minute or so, we will be scrolling the details. But let me just read out for you the Central Bank of Nigeria's operating guidelines on the Export Stimulation Facility, ESF. This is the guidelines released by the Central Bank. The Non-Oil Export Stimulation Facility was established by the Central Bank of Nigeria to diversify the economy away from oil and to expedite the growth and development of the non-oil export sector. The facility is essentially designed to redress the declining export credit and reposition the sector to increase its contribution to revenue generation and economic development. Of course, the objectives include to improve access of exporters to concessionary finance, to expand and diversify the non-oil export baskets, attract new investment, shore up non-oil export sector productivity, create more jobs, diversify and increase the level of contribution of non-oil export, and more very important, broaden the scope of export financing instruments. Of course, the facility is being managed by Nexim Bank. Eligibility criteria, I think here exporters need to be attentive. Only export-oriented enterprises shall be eligible under the ESF, and such shall include: 1. A company duly incorporated in Nigeria under Companies and Allied Matters Act, an enterprise with verifiable export offtake or export contracts, an enterprise with satisfactory credit reports from at least 2 credit bureaus in line with the provisions of the CBN circular number, it's given there on your screen. Eligible bank assets purchased by Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, that may, by special approval of the CBN management, be allowed to participate with respect to acquired projects. And the transactions that are eligible include export of goods wholly or partly processed or manufactured in Nigeria, export of commodities and services which are permissible and excluded under the existing export prohibition list, imports of plant and machineries, and so on and so forth. This is a rather lengthy one. Hello, good morning. It's my pleasure writing this to you today, being 24th August 2016, pertaining the exportation of goods. I am a new exporter, proposed in quotes. It's a new joint business with colleagues. We are planning to start exporting hibiscus subdarifa, that is Zobo. And I want to make inquiries on how to start. I want to be part. Please, I need detailed information. God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mustafa Saliu. God bless you too. But I think Bayo answered some part of this at the onset. Let me just say technically, exporting is a process. So we cannot bring out our calculator and tell Mr. Mustafa that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and tomorrow he becomes an exporter. That is the reason why we encourage our viewers to either have kept faith with us or go to our YouTube channel, www.exportdigest.com. Now, I'll simply go Export Digest. There you can follow previous episodes, and of course, in a few of the immediate past episodes, we have informed our viewers that in the last quarter of the year, by the grace of God, starting next month, sometime between October and November, the dates you will know, there will be Export 101, if you like, you call it, to know all you need to know about export.
I think it's high time that comes on. I would encourage you to really get that class off the ground.
Here, Mr. Yakubu Ilya has written, "Good evening, sir." Okay, this was actually somebody who had a talk with one of us. As discussed earlier on phone, my name is Yakubu Ilya. As a prospective exporter, sir, I would like to know, because I'm coming as an intending exporter, what are the requirements, how to get customers, which bank is involved, documents involved, etc. We are aware of the efforts of quite a number of local banks, well, local because they are national, not because they are local in operations. Let's say Nigerian banks, commercial banks, in trying to strengthen their own readiness to participate in the emerging export boom that is coming up. Whether we like it or not, this is the era for export to boom. And I'm sure that wherever Mr. Ilya is, he will get assistance from his commercial bank. Documents involved, I'm sure our producer would not mind putting up some of those past episodes where we talk about documents. Exporters usually make the mistake of believing that rejection only occurs when product quality is not complied with. Documentation, as we all know, plays an equally important, sometimes probably more important role in the export value chain than even the product quality itself. The document used in each case will depend on the requirements of both the Nigerian government and that of the importing countries. Commercial invoice. As in a domestic transaction, the commercial invoice is a bill for the goods from the buyer to the seller. Bill of lading. Bills of lading are contracts between the owner of the goods and the carrier, as with domestic shipments. There are two types. A straight bill of lading is non-negotiable. A negotiable or shipper's order bill of lading can be bought, sold, or traded while goods are in transit and is used for letter of credit transactions. Certificate of origin. Certain nations require a signed statement as to the origin of the export item. Such certificates are usually obtained through a semi-official organization such as a local chamber of commerce. In the case of Nigeria, the issuing authority is the National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, NACIMA. Certificate of inspection. Some purchasers and countries may require a certificate of inspection attesting to the specifications of the goods shipped, usually performed by a third party. Export license, of course, where needed. It is important to advise that a Nigerian exporter does not require an export license. Rather, you need to register with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and obtain an exporter registration certificate. This clarification is important, as a lot of people have been taken for a ride and charged heavily under the guise of processing export license for them. Insurance certificate. If the seller provides insurance, the insurance certificate states the type and amount of coverage. This instrument is negotiable. My name is Mr. Okuabele Anegdo Kingsley. Sorry, forgive me for macheting your names. I just want to get information about how to get my agricultural processed and packaged products to the outside world. I would kindly like to request more information about the export stimulation facility. I know we took the export stimulation facility earlier on. To get your processed and packaged products to the outside world, Bayo already said the first thing that you need to do. But to get it to the outside world, I think in the last 1 or 2 episodes we did talk about, that is, I'm assuming now that you are ready to ship. We did talk about appointing a freight forwarder who is worth his onions. The freight forwarder helps you to fill in the gaps where there are gaps. And good to know that they are processed and packaged products. Are they packaged and labeled in the language of the country that you are exporting to? Do they have expiry dates already labeled on them? Is there a barcode for traceability? Do you have a NAFDAC number? And phytosanitary certificate for consumables and agricultural, horticultural products? All those are some of the things, questions that you really need to answer before you start pushing your products.
He also needs to answer his readiness in terms of packaging of the products, because the packaging is very important. If you meet all the standards that has been rolled out today, and your packaging is zero, you are not likely to have access to that market that you so much desire.
Thank you very much, Bayo. And I think this question is going to actually generate some kind of... I want to introduce myself. He has not written his name, unfortunately, but all the same, let us read it out. I want to introduce myself to the export business. I want you to enlighten me on how to start the business. Well, we have received more than 200 telephone calls from you, our religiously faithful viewers on Export Digest, and God has helped us to answer patiently that exporting is a process. So I want to start the export business. Bayo, I think this is the time for every Nigerian to start export business.
So you see, the first thing I tell people is start.
Yeah, but how do you start? That's the question that they are asking.
So how do you start? First, you need to know what you want to export.
Good.
What do you want to export? Because everybody wants to export. You know, I was talking to a group of people just about a few days ago, and I told them that the, what do you call it now, tom-tom.
Yeah.
You know, it's exportable. That's how basic a product is that is exportable.
It's not basic enough. Tom-tom is manufactured. Iru, that's locust bean that I use in cooking my mixed okra and vegetable. So it's exportable and currently being exported. So how more is exported?
Yeah, so how do you start? The first thing is to identify what you want to start.
Good.
That is after you have told yourself that you actually want to be an exporter, because just like every other thing, and you know that there is, like you always say, it's a process.
Yeah.
And there's a need for the potential exporter to be patient, to know exactly what is necessary, what is available, and what is required for the business to succeed. So it is step by step, precept upon precept, line upon line. So you start by determining that yes, you want to export for passion.
Nigerians need foreign currency now. Yeah, passion comes in.
No, you see, that's one of the things we have to. Okay. That's one of the things that we have to encourage. Yes, it is for the dollars. Let me just put it that way. It's for the dollars. But you see, it's only passion that will that will give you that level of patience that you require. Because you from experience, you know that when the documentation issue comes, most potential exporters abandon their dreams at that point, because NAFDAC, phytosanitary inspection, this comes. Then after you have finished all of that, you get to the port inspection. By the time you do all of that, you find that, oh, what have I gotten myself into? So that is where the passion actually comes.
Yeah.
But if you can be patient enough, and you rough it to the market. Then when you see the dollars, I'm sure you'll be very happy. But the dollars come easy then, you know.
Okay, well, I think we should begin to put a pause there, because there's a segment that is very, very important. But what is important is we've enjoyed your viewership for the past 13 weeks. We have received, like I said, no exaggeration, more than 200 calls. It just shows that Nigerians and Nigeria, hopefully, are understanding or beginning to understand the need to participate in the export market, to capture a segment, a fair share of the global wealth in non-oil exports. And like I said, this actually is the season for us to appropriate the benefits of exporting non-oil products and our God-given talents as services. Export Digest will continue to do its best to help your export readiness. And of course, there is this agency of government that is critical to all of this. And so, don't go away. When we come back, we will be going to the Corporate Affairs Commission. As a reminder, the Corporate Affairs Commission regulates Nigeria's business environment with the main objective of ensuring that business, including export business, is carried out in a conducive environment. In this segment, we bring you an excerpt from the Registrar General, Malam Mahmoud Bello.
CAC is trying to contribute to the ease of doing business in this country, because if you are doing business in Nigeria, your first place of call is Corporate Affairs Commission, because you need to have a registered business that will enable you have a record of your businesses. It will enable you also have access to bank accounts. It also allow you to have your TIN number for tax reasons and so forth and so on. CAC has been trying to make it easier for people to register businesses. What we did earlier on was to allow state offices to register companies without having recourse to Abuja. Initially, you have to come to Abuja to register a business. If it's a company, the state officer just collect your documents and send them to Abuja by courier, and then we do it here and then send back the certificate to the state office to give it to you. But now we have 5 state offices whereby they can start and finish their businesses. Apart from Abuja, second office in Wuse, Zone 5, we have Lagos, Alausa, and Marina. We also have Enugu, and we have Port Harcourt. We also have Kaduna, and we have Nkano. In all these offices, you can start registering a company and finish without having recourse to head office. That means time for registration is shortened by that activity. We are planning to extend it to other offices before the end of this year. We are planning to extend to 20 more offices. So by the end of this year, we will have at least 25 or 26 offices where you can start this and finish registering your companies without having to come to Abuja. That's where we are now.
That excerpt from the CAC brings us to the end of another episode of Export Digest as we round up this quarter. Thank you so much for staying with us. From the series of calls and email messages, WhatsApp and SMS, we know for sure that Export Digest is creating new exporters and enhancing export capacity. We shall continue to strive to always expand your knowledge and enhance your readiness to export. Indeed, we will not round up this until I read this last one, which just came in coincidentally, as if the guy knew that we're rounding up a quarter today. This says, "Thanks a million, Export Digest. May your efforts towards uplifting the Nigerian economy through this program be Continue to be productive, recognized, and appreciated. And this signed Shehu Ahmadu Waziri. Malam Waziri, we want to say a very big thank you. We know that there are a lot of you out there who enjoy what we are doing here. God bless you too. Remember, you can watch this particular episode and others before it on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Export Digest. As usual, we will appreciate your comments, observations, and contributions as we continue on our march towards making Nigeria a viable exporting nation and lead our viewers into the hidden secrets of export treasures. Our channels of communication are open and now showing on your screen. Many thanks to our sponsors for their contributions to the development of Export Digest. We also implore manufacturers, entrepreneurs, and services exporters to support the program through adverts and sponsorship. Remember, by showcasing your business, your goods and services on this program, you will be helping us immensely to pay for our airtime and cost of production, while expanding the corporate mileage that you get for your brand, products, and services. We invite you to come on board by calling us today, and you will be glad that you did. Join us same time on this same channel next week for another interesting package of Export Digest. I am Femi Boyede. See you then, and God bless Nigeria.